Hey, good afternoon, or actually good morning, everybody. Jim Hayden with Signature Premier, your premier home team, and usually Jen Jonas is with me today, but she had to take a client out to go see some homes. So hopefully she'll be getting back in time to join us for a little conversation. But today I have a guest on, Carol Yopp from, is that correct, Yopp?
Yopp.
Yopp, Carol Yopp from Long Island Housing Partnership.
Correct.
Okay.
And thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, she's going to talk to us a little bit about what's available for first-time home buyers, different grants, stuff like that. We know a lot of people, sometimes we get calls that, people like, oh, well, I'm still saving for down payment, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. And there's different programs that a lot of people don't know about out there, especially for new buyers to be able to access some down payment money or other things. So again, Jim Hayden with Signature Premier, your premier home team.
And our services are the best kept secret on Long Island, but I think that it's about time that we got a little bit more of our publicity out there for the services that we have, because we're a very valuable organization. My background is primarily banking, in the mortgage banking industry. I was an underwriter for almost 20 years, and before I joined the partnership as a foreclosure prevention counselor. And at the partnership, we have 6 counselors, 3 that are devoted to pre-purchase education, and 3 that are devoted to foreclosure prevention counseling. But we have a lot of different programs at the partnership that people don't know about. We've been in existence. Pre-purchase are primarily devoted to working with the low to moderate income buyers. And as such, we have a lot of grant opportunities for those home buyers who have not owned a home in 3 years, because that's the definition of a first-time home buyer, is someone who has not owned a property for 3 years. And if they have, once the 3 years has passed, then they are again eligible for being a first-time home buyer. Okay. So as you said before, the down payment issue is usually the biggest obstacle to a first-time home buyer. So there are opportunities for down payment assistance through grants. Suffolk County Down Payment Assistance Grant.
There's a long list here.
Yes, we have a list of grant opportunities that are on our website, as well as being a first-time home buyer is getting the education that you need to make that first major purchase. A lot of people don't prepare for it the same way they would for other first-time events in their lives, unfortunately. They don't think that it's a complicated situation. Look, all these people around me bought a house. How hard could it be?
Right.
From the housing crisis that we've all managed to survive.
So Long Island Housing Partnership, are you guys are you a bank, or are you a
No, we are not.
lender?
We are a not-for-profit, and we sometimes will make a recommendation that a home buyer might seek out a product from one bank over another, but we, in our counseling session, which is usually a face-to-face counseling session with a home buyer, we discuss their goals, what their desires are as far as securing their first home, and the potential for them to become a successful homeowner. Because the key to success is having the educational background.
Absolutely.
So we let them know.
A lot of consumers out there that just don't know, what can I afford?
Right.
What's available? And then we always have the buyers that are like, I was just looking because I know I'll never qualify.
Right. But that can be true in a lot of circumstances, but it's also false in a lot of circumstances. Right. So the best thing for a potential home buyer is to make an appointment to meet with a counselor. Our services are free. There is no charge for a counseling session. Okay. And during the counseling session, the counselor will discuss with the home buyer, and it's always it's necessary to counsel all home buyers. If there's a couple, we like to meet with the couple. If there's 3 people purchasing a house, we like to meet with all 3 people, because everybody needs to be as involved as they can in the home buying process.
Right. That's like Jen and I are essentially counselors for buyers and sellers out in the field.
Right.
So you're the added layer of counseling when it comes to the
counseling and more education even than just the counseling. Counseling can be considered sometimes a misnomer. I think it's a good title for a housing counselor to have, a housing counselor title, as opposed to educator, because you sit down and you get to know your client, what their needs and wants are, what their must-haves are, and making sure that they can afford to remain in that property if they do find a home that they want to purchase. Okay. We want to make sure that the affordability is there, that they're mortgageable, that they're credit worthy, and that they have all the right criteria in place to be a successful homeowner.
So rather than just running out and taking a look at homes and you're actually putting a stamp of approval on that buyer saying they have no issues whatsoever purchasing this home.
You're ready. You're ready
to go.
You're ready to buy. And not every home buyer, when they come in with a house in mind, is ready to purchase.
Okay. Now, what's the difference between you saying they're ready to go and, say, a lender saying they can afford to buy?
Okay. Well, if they have received the pre-approval, ideally they will come in with it so that we can see what they've been pre-approved for. But we review income, we review assets, we review ratios, meaning that they're not spending more than the portion of their monthly gross income that they can afford to spend. Okay. Sometimes you can qualify at a 40% housing ratio, but you really can't afford a house that is going to take up 40% of your housing ratio, because the lenders use gross income to qualify a buyer. Okay. They're not sitting and looking at what the payroll deductions are and how much you're going to have left over at the end of the month of that $5,000 that you're earning. Everybody's payroll deductions are different. Right. So you can have a portion of your pay going to a retirement plan, which is excellent, and you can also have a portion going maybe to a loan against the retirement plan. And the bankers are not taking that into consideration when all is said and done. What is your net pay at the end of the month? Okay. So are you going to be able to put food on the table and oil or gas in your tank at the end of the month?
Right, you're going to be able to stay warm in the house that you're buying.
Do you have a payroll deduction for medical insurance? If you have, that takes a big chunk of a household's income. Yeah. We want to make sure that there's not going to be a deficit based on the net income for the household at the end of the month. So that when the first payment rolls around, you're not going to be scrambling to make that first mortgage payment, which unfortunately happens sometimes. Yeah. We want to make sure that you're educated enough to know that, you're in the home buying process, don't run out and buy all that furniture before you move into the house. Because the bills are going to come due, and okay, are you going to pay for the furniture or are you going to pay for the mortgage? Yeah. That happens frequently with the people that aren't.
Even with people that are
not
buying
sensible and responsible and knowledgeable.
And they're buying, more
than they can afford. So we want to make sure that the buyers buy the right amount of house for their budget, and that they don't lose sight of putting and think of all those expenses and doesn't calculate out the net income as opposed to their gross income and their credit card debt and how much they pay for their cell phone every month and the cost of cable TV. It's sometimes a rude awakening, and they realize, well, you know what, maybe I need another 6 months before I'm going to be ready, because I need to pay down some debts, or I need to put some more money aside. Because another thing that is a factor in is that a lot of loan programs don't require reserve funds. But the life happens. You have a snowstorm, the week after you move in and you find a leak in the roof, who's going to fix that
Where's
leak
the
in the roof?
reserves
Where's
to
the
take
money
care
going
of
to
that?
come from to fix the roof?
So what's available?
There are many grant opportunities available that home buyers are not aware of. Of course, they're all based on income levels. There's income limitations based on the HUD median income for the household size. Correct. There's and it's all this information is available on our website, as is a educational course that can also be accessed through our website. It's called Frameworks. And the Frameworks course is a very comprehensive educational program that does have a minimal cost associated with it, but it's a good tool for prospective home buyers to access before they meet with a counselor.
Okay.
But so that they know what's going to be discussed, how to prepare for the counseling session. It's not a mandatory course, though. Nobody has to take it. Right. But when they come in more prepared, they have a list of questions that they might want to ask the counselor. And during the course of the counseling session, which is usually about an hour and a half or to 2 hours, the counselor will discuss grant opportunities that might suit that household.
Yeah, I noticed there's Nassau County Home Down Payment Assistance,
Suffolk
Town of
County,
Babylon, Suffolk County.
We also have an employer-assisted housing program that is a very popular program on Long Island. We have, I think, about 160 employers that are on the program. It's not an open list. But if anybody is interested in the potential for the employer-assisted housing program, all they need to do is get in touch with their HR person, their human resources department, to see if in fact it is an opportunity that they offer. And we have on our website, we have the details of the program, as well as the mission for the Long Island Housing Partnership, and all the contact information is on the brochure. Okay. But again, it's on our website.
So this isn't just for low to moderate income people. It's
primarily those are the people that benefit the best from the programs. Okay. However,
there's other people. I know there's other buyers that need to be educated.
Yes, they need to be educated regardless of what their status is as far as income goes. But it is definitely the best first stop when you're thinking about purchasing a home. Okay. A buyer only needs to get called to the office and ask for a one-on-one appointment with one of the housing counselors. Okay. And where our counselors are available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The last appointment is typically about 3:30. Okay. And we will do our best to accommodate them so that they have a successful appointment. And they develop a rapport with the counselors, that it sometimes is a long-lasting relationship because the counselor wants to know,
how are you doing 6 months down the road?
6 months. Well, are you ready to purchase? Did you clean up your credit? Did you pay that collection account? You think you're going to be ready, or did something happen that's going to cause a delay? And we'll follow along until the person makes a decision. Sometimes the decision is, you know what, I'm just not ready right now. I need another, maybe a year or two. Or they had a job change and they think that they need to reestablish themselves in their career. And so it might take a little bit longer to get to the goal of being a homeowner. There's also a program that's called First Home Club, which is a savings program that for federal home loan banks, there's 3 lenders that we work with that are approved through Federal Home Loan Bank. That's a 4-to-1 match of a savings program that goes over a period between 10 to 18 months. That once they complete the savings program, which is a monthly savings of about $182, if they set up an account with the bank once they're approved. There's quite an approval process, and they have to be determined eligible to be a part of this program, which they would find that out during a counseling session with a counselor, that whether or not they'd be eligible for that program. And once they file their application, if they're approved for the program, then they set up a savings account. And at the end of the period, the bank that they've chosen to do the lending with will match it 4 times, up to $10,000. They get up to $10,000 to go towards a down payment, and that money is paid at closing. That money is transferred at closing. So it's a good program that gets people who are not in the habit of a monthly saving.
Right.
That they get into that. And these days with the technology, it's a matter of a direct deposit right into that account. So there's really not too much thought that has to go into it, except that you're going to earmark a certain amount every month to go into a designated account that's specifically for the First Home Club savings plan. And then there's an educational component that they also have to complete that goes with that.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about buyers, and I know you, during our office meeting, you talked a little bit about sellers and reverse mortgages.
Right, and foreclosure prevention.
Foreclosure prevention. You've been in the, again, how long have you been in the mortgage industry?
I've been in the industry since 1982. Okay.
So you started working when you were 7, right?
Real estate agents. Yes, that's about right. My background started in a real estate office as a receptionist.
So you've seen all the
aspects of home buying,
and then you saw the huge crash.
Yes.
Now, what for people that are already in a home, or a seller? Potentially, maybe he wants to stay in his home longer and he wants to get a reverse mortgage, or that person that's struggling with their mortgage. Okay.
Okay. That is, that's a bigger task. Buying is easy, staying there is a whole other matter.
Right.
But the key to getting assistance is, number one, you don't have to do it alone. There are agencies out there that can assist at no cost, which our agency also does, foreclosure prevention. So when you say foreclosure prevention, it doesn't mean that you have to be in foreclosure.
Right.
I have clients that have missed 1 payment, and I have clients that have missed 60 payments. So there's a whole gamut in between those two spectrums. So it's people that are anticipating that they're going to have a problem making their next payment, and they don't know what to do and don't know where to go.
They need to restructure.
Right. They need to sometimes just look at their how they manage their household budget. So we do that as part of a counseling appointment. We review credit to see, do they have too much credit? Is the housing payment their problem, or maybe their problem is from financial mismanagement, which is often the case.
Shopping.
It can be shopping. It can be.
I know I have a bad habit of
furnishing a house.
If my wife is watching,
it's having a family of 6 as opposed to a family of 2. Right. Raising a family on Long Island is
not cheap.
It's not cheap, and sometimes it's a matter of when you find yourself charging necessities, and you're digging yourself a bigger hole. I always tell the clients, when you find yourself in a hole, you need to stop digging and figure out a way to get out of it. Absolutely. And so we make referrals to, we sit, again, those counseling sessions with foreclosure prevention usually are at least 2 hours or longer. And we, again, see clients Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. But those are a little bit more uncomfortable with the homeowner coming in because they feel like they failed, which is not a failure.
Right.
But they sometimes just don't understand where things went wrong. And luckily, we have very well-trained counselors who can navigate the system for them to see where did you go wrong. And maybe you need more debt management help than you need foreclosure counseling. Maybe you need a little bit of both. But we need to fix the mortgage first.
Right.
And that's the priority, because when all is said and done, you need to have a place to go home again.
Yeah.
And we need to prioritize our expenses and how we make our payments. And that sometimes they lose sight of what they need to do to stay on track with their mortgage payment. And the bottom line is the lenders and the servicers, they don't want the house. They really don't want the house. They want to get back to a successful performing loan. And so we try and figure out a way to help the homeowners get back to that area.
And hopefully that doesn't happen too much, but...
Well, unfortunately it happens more than you think. And, but there is help out there. No one should ever pay for the service of assistance in a loan modification. And if you find yourself in a circumstance where you need some guidance, legal advice, there are free legal service agencies also that are out there that can assist with the information that you need to get back on track.
Okay.
The Attorney General of New York State is very supportive of the housing counseling industry and has made available funding for us to do our job so that we can offer our services for free. So they can go to either the website hud.gov to find a counselor in their area, or come to our website if Hauppauge isn't within their realm of driving.
Or give Jen or I a call, and we can head you in the right direction if you're having a hard time navigating the sites.
There are a lot of resources out there,
Right.
and opportunity for not to be taken advantage of.
Right.
And that's the key. That is the key. And reverse mortgages, for some time, you brought that up at the beginning, is sometimes a very good solution to a homeowner's problem especially when they're elderly and they can't afford to pay their taxes.
Right.
That's one of the best
They
programs
mortgage
available.
the house and pay the tax.
Right. But they have to make sure again that education piece of it is in place.
Right.
They need to meet with a certified reverse mortgage counselor before they take that next step.
Okay.
So it's all putting the cart before the horse,
Yeah.
you know, and where the actions take place. You want to make sure that you do first things first.
Okay. So going into the spring buying season, there's a lot of renters out there that should not be renting. They should be owning a home. What's just a quick, short, what's your best advice to the renters who can be in a home, but they don't know
where to start?
Yeah, what?
Okay.
There's a lot. We run across a lot of people. Oh, we're renting. We're renting. Rent actually costs more than buying.
It can in many circumstances cost more than buying, but the other piece of it is that we don't have so many rentals available on Long Island either. So a lot of the rentals that they're in are not the ideal rental situation.
Well, and that's why renting is getting so expensive, because the shortage of rental inventory.
Sure.
The landlords are
it's almost non-existent in certain areas.
Boosting the prices to.
Right. Right.
So what's your advice?
Okay, so we have at the partnership, we also have some rental programs. If people are looking to stay in a rental opportunity, we have a lot of development programs as well. We did the Winedance Rising apartments over by the train station. We have some properties in Farmingdale. We have some rental programs in Patchogue. So if
they're currently renting and
if they're currently renting and do want to buy, then they should meet with a housing counselor to see if there is opportunity. Maybe they only have part of a down payment and they need a little bit more. That's where the grant programs come in.
Yeah, there's a long list
the grant programs, right? And these are the housing, the income limitations. And
I'm going to share in a link. I'll share a PDF in a link below the video when we finish up.
And both Nassau and Suffolk counties have developed down payment assistance programs that will be rolled out. They need to get in touch with the agency, like in Suffolk County, and we can give them that information to get onto the list. And once the list goes out, they have an opportunity to apply for the down payment assistance. In Suffolk County, it ranges between $12,000 to $14,000. And then there's other loan programs through the state of New York Mortgage Agency that will also give them down payment assistance that they're not aware of.
Yeah.
So if they're eligible for down payment assistance through the Sony May, and they have a little bit of down payment, and it could all be layered into the program. It's not a matter, well, you have this, you can't have that. So they can be reviewed for eligibility, and the counselor will tell them, you know, when this list opens up, make sure you get your application in so that you can apply for that grant, and then you'll be eligible for this grant. And the layering of the grants is what gets people into the home based on their eligibility criteria. So that the best place to start is by calling a counseling agency and making that first visit with a housing counselor. Come prepared. Being prepared is the key to a successful housing counseling appointment. Right. And if you're going to be meeting with a counselor, you should have your tax returns, W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements, and have your employment information ready to share with the housing counselor so that they can determine whether or not you meet the criteria for a mortgage, that you have 2 years of employment, that you have the stable income necessary to support a mortgage.
Okay, great.
Okay.
There's lots of stuff.
Thank you.
Again,
thank you
Carol,
very much.
I want to thank you for coming on here. We're going to share your information with our audience and email it out to some of our clients. But again, for you buyers that are hedging on not knowing what to do, there is a lot of stuff out there available to assist. And you can either reach out to Jen Gonis or myself here at Signature Premier. And then we're going to share Carol Yopp's information also in a link below. And you'll be able to reach out to them directly and see what type of programs are available. Because everybody should be buying a house this year. That's what we think.
The rates are down, the opportunities are there. It's a shame for anyone who is finding themselves on the fence. Do your homework and investigate. And maybe
there might be that added little bit of layer of money that you need to make a purchase this year. All right? You guys have a great day. Again, Jim Hayden with Signature Premier, Carol Yopp, and Jen is still helping probably one of her favorite clients. But we're maybe come on later on this afternoon and talk about where the market is right now. So for any sellers that may be watching, we'll maybe come on really quick later on this afternoon. We're not sure yet. All right. Thanks and have a great day.